Abusers confuse love and abuse. In their minds, them loving you is them abusing you. And understand that pathological narcissists do not have love to give because they exist in victim abuser consciousness. They are based in their shame and they're unable to move past their pride. They did not develop past their lower ego. And if we're talking about love and empathy, well, those vibrations are all the way up there in the 500s. When pathological narcissism at an energy spectrum exists below the line of 200. It exists below the line of courage. Again, pathological narcissists are rooted in their shame, and this is pathologically low self-esteem so low that they would probably have to look up to see it. And at best, they get to the level of dysfunctional pride. This is their grandiosity and their false sense of superiority. And understand that you have to transcend lower level emotions to get to a higher one. However, pathological narcissists are unable to let go of their pride because they do not see anything wrong with their behavior. So they are perfect. And perfect people do not need to change. Hence, pride cometh before the fall, and they fall right back down to shame. Because pathological narcissists exist in victim abuser consciousness. Any relationship that you get into with a pathological narcissist will be a victim abuser type 1. So understand that there is a certain type of thinking that comes from people that are stuck in victim abuser consciousness. And understand that pathological narcissists do not have love to give, hence they will love bomb. And love bombing is one of the many manipulation tactics that they use to overwhelm you and flatter you so that you think it is love. And again, you're going to drop your guard. And eventually you're going to see where they're going to devalue, discard, and oftentimes try to hoover you back into this abuse cycle. Abusers think love is abuse in their demented, twisted minds. Again, this is how they think at their level of consciousness. So as we go through today's lesson, I want to remind you not to project your consciousness onto the pathological narcissist because they do not think like you. Eagles do not think like vultures. Eagles are hunters. They go out and find fresh meat. Vultures are scavengers. They go out and find rotten meat. Both are birds, but they think completely differently. Again, do not project your consciousness onto a pathological narcissist. Do not assume that the thoughts that are in your mind are also the thoughts that are in their mind, because again, you are not stuck in victim abuser consciousness. You have access to the 4th dimension, the 5th dimension or higher. You have empathy. You have love to give, which means that again, you have access to a higher dimension. So understand that pathological narcissists do not have love to give. They have abuse to give. They have love bombing to give. They have triangulation to give. They have the double bind to give. They have gaslighting to give, and so on, because again, they exist in victim abuser consciousness. That is where they are comfortable. I did a previous video where I mentioned that pathological narcissists are the grumpy old troll that lives under the bridge. Understand that under the bridge is that line where you see on the Hawkins scale or the map of consciousness by Dr. David R. Hawkins. That line is right there at pride. Because again, that is where they stop. That is the line in the sand. They are under the bridge. That is where they live. They live in victim abuser consciousness. They live in their lower ego. They exist in the 3rd dimension. Every day they wake up, they're in shame, so they're in the 1st dimension. But at best, they get to the 3rd dimension. They get to pride, and pride cometh before the fall, so they fall right back down to shame. That is the psyche of the pathological narcissist. So oftentimes, abusers will try to convince you to tolerate their inappropriate behavior because To an abuser, love is really attention. This is the pathological narcissist, narcissistic supply. And narcissistic supply is the attention, admiration, validation, and reflection that you give to them. And this is what they are interpreting as quote unquote LOVE. Pathological narcissist people did not develop to the level of consciousness to understand love, to give love, and also to receive love. So you cannot love a pathological narcissist and they cannot love you back. If you try to pour love into a pathological narcissist, all of your love and kindness and compassion is going to evaporate right there at the third dimension. Because we exist in separate dimensions, again, based on our level of consciousness. What pathological narcissists are interpreting as love, people, is the desire to possess you. It is the desire to control you. It is the desire to have sexual access to you. It is also the desire to impress other people by having you by their side. Pathological narcissists are incapable of love. They want you to be subservient to them. That is what they think love is. They believe in their mind, at their level of consciousness, that loving you is controlling you, is possessing you. And this is why they are envious of you. So understand that what you were feeling in the love bomb was not love, it was possession. And the intensity of possession can be mistaken to be love. But understand that love is a very calm emotion. It is a very free-flowing emotion because, again, it exists all the way up there in the 500s. Love does not feel contracted. It feels like expansion. If someone is trying to possess you, it is going to feel like a sticky, clingy energy. And that is what you get from the pathological narcissist because, again, they exist in the third dimension. At the third dimension is where you have contracted energy, right? If someone is in a state of fear, for example, which exists in the third dimension, then they are in a contracted state. For example, if someone is in a state of anger, again, they are in a contracted state. They are not in a relaxed state. It is when you go higher and higher and higher on the Hawking scale is when you feel more free and more expanded. Because, again, we are here to expand our consciousness. But pathological narcissists are stuck in a state of contraction. And this is why they're oftentimes very tense, envious, jealous, and rageful people. That is the dimension that they are stuck in. So in their mind, possessing you and controlling you is love. In their mind, when you give them attention, when you feed their ego, when you boost their ego, they are interpreting this as love. But again, people, love exists all the way up there in the 500s. Pathological narcissists can't see love. They've never known love. People, oftentimes, pathological narcissist people have to look up to see shame. They can't see love from the dimension that they are at. So it is important to learn how to discern spirit. It is important to learn how to discern consciousness. So physically, someone could be smiling with you, but again, they may have a butcher's knife behind their back because that person exists in victim abuser consciousness. They are love bombing you, so they're smiling with you, but they don't like you. They're smiling with you so that you can drop your guard, so that they can come in later and abuse you. They can come in later and devalue you, where they stab you in the back, where they cheat on you, where they deceive you, where they lie to you, etc. That is the narcissistic abuse cycle, people. The confusion of love with abuse is what allows abusers, people, to end the life of their intimate partners. This is what they think in their minds. This is the desire to control. It is not love. They do not have access to love. So understand that there are 8 billion people on this planet, and all 8 billion people do not have access to love. They do not have access to the levels in the 500s, people. There are some people that can't even make it out of the first dimension. That is where they're stuck. That is their spiritual evolution. Again, there are 8 billion, B Bravo, 8 billion people on this planet. So again, do not project your consciousness onto another individual. Do not project your empathy and love onto another individual until you have discerned their level of consciousness, because everybody does not think like you. Again, eagles do not think like vultures. They think in the complete opposite way. The vulture will eat what the eagle has hunted. And the vulture will come in really when that meat is rotten and filled with worms and maggots. Vultures eat rotten flesh, people. They don't eat fresh meat. So again, you could have two birds standing side by side, but again, they think in a complete opposite way. They are yin and yang. They are light and dark. They are the empath, people, and the pathological narcissist. So understand that whatever you're seeing manifest itself in the physical regarding the pathological narcissist behavior is coming from the fact that they are stuck at that low vibration. Again, every day they wake up, they're in shame because, again, they hate themselves, and someone that hates themselves do not have the ability to love you. They don't have love to give. They have shame to give. Just like Gollum in The Lord of the Rings, they're going to say that nobody likes you. You don't have any friends. They're projecting their inner turmoil and inner insecurities onto you. They project their deep-seated shame onto you. So they want you to hate yourself just like how they hate themselves. They have shame to give. They have guilt tripping to give. Pathological narcissist people are all people addicts. So they have dysregulated desire to give. Addictions are formed out of dysregulated desire. And it is the desire for a drug that is more than the desire to improve one's life. Pathological narcissist people have anger to give. They have rage fits to give. They throw adult tantrums. Like toddlers, but they throw adult tantrums. That is what a narcissistic rage is. And again, people, they have a whole lot of pride to give. They are filled with pride. They are grandiose and they believe that they are superior to you. So understand that abusers are looking down at you. They want their foot on your neck. There is no equality in the third dimension. Abusers do not see you as their equals. They have to beat you down. You must be beneath them. Masters do not think like slaves. Master wants the slave beneath them. That is what you get from people that are stuck at that level of consciousness. That is what you get from unripened fruits, people. These people are missing a lot of elements. They do not think like you. These are lost souls. They are dark souls because they are dark at their core. You're dealing with a dark spirit. And if darkness is on the inside, then you will eventually see this darkness on the outside. People, if you squeeze an orange, you'll get orange juice. If you squeeze an apple, apple juice. If you squeeze a grape, you'll get grape juice. And again, if at their core, these individuals are dark because they're operating a dark spirit, you're eventually going to see this darkness on the outside. And this darkness is going to manifest itself as lies, connivery, neglect, and abuse. That is what you get from someone that is stuck in the third dimension. So understand that your abuser does not want your help. They want your subservience. And if you give them this subservience, do not think that they are going to love and respect you, because they do not have love and respect to give. They have abuse to give. They have neglect to give. They have lies to give. They have connivery to give. They have deception to give. They have manipulation to give. They have triangulation to give. They have the double bind to give. Whatever you received from the pathological narcissist is what they have to give. If they had love, they would have given you love. They do not have love to give. They have a love bomb to give. And love bombing is the first step in the narcissistic abuse cycle. You thought you were in a mutually beneficial relationship. Pathological narcissists are incapable of getting into mutually beneficial relationships with others. They only get into various abuse cycles. And they start these abuse cycles off with love bombing because they do not have love to give. Understand that abusers do not have love to give. Love does not exist in their level of consciousness. It has never existed in their level of consciousness. There's no love in the third dimension. There's no peace in the third dimension. Only victims and abusers, because it is victim-abuser consciousness. And this is why you must get the courage to walk away and stay away. You must get the courage to ascend. Statistics will tell you that it takes victims, on average, 7 times to leave these abusive cycles. So the average is 7, could be less, it could be more depending on the individual. But again, it takes on average 7 times for a victim to become a survivor. Because what happens is when you're in these abuse cycles, you are interpreting the love bomb as love. So you want to go back to the love stage. There is no love stage in an abuse cycle. It is an abuse cycle. Abuse is not love. Pathological narcissist people do not have love to give. It is of the utmost importance that you understand that. People can only give you what they have, and whatever the pathological narcissist has to give people is all there in the third dimension. And pride is the most positive emotion that a pathological narcissist has to give. Very bitter pill to swallow. Very bitter pill to swallow, but that is the facts. Pathological narcissists have never had love to give. They get into abuse cycles with individuals. And this is why these relationships have to go down. You cannot build with a pathological narcissist. They embody destructive energy. They are abusers. Abusers have abuse to give. That is why they are abusers. So in order to have healthy, blossoming, growing relationships with other individuals, whether these are intimate relationships, friendships, etc., you must commune with people that are in the fourth dimension or higher. People that are similar to you, that are at a similar vibration as you. So these people have courage to give. They have neutrality to give. They have acceptance to give. They have love to give. They have peace to give. They have joy to give, and so on. These are people that are working on themselves. Pathological narcissists, people are just working on their false selves. The mask that they wore in the love bomb to deceive others. That is what they're working on. They're working on their ego. And again, these individuals stop growing in their childhoods because, again, they are filled with pride. And pride cometh before the fall, so they fall right back down to shame. They won't let go of their pride enough to get to the fourth dimension, the fifth dimension, or higher. So again, if you're not growing, you are going to devolve. If you fail to evolve people, you're going through a process of devolution. These relationships get worse over time because they are regressing. They are not progressing. Pathological narcissists age like milk. They curdle over time. They do not age like wine. They do not get better with time. Because these relationships are not based on love. They do not have love to give. And that really is the message for today, kind folks. Ensure that you're liking these videos. Ensure that you are subscribed for more empowering content. If you have any questions or feedback, go ahead and leave that in the comment section. Sheikah is the name. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.